want to talk to you about how we can move Alberta forward by building a reliable electricity grid that can save money on your power bill and reduce pollution at the same time. You may have heard the term net zero and wondered what it meant. Net zero means that we are reducing pollution as much as we possibly can from our energy system, and where small amounts remain, we balance those out by removing the same amount somewhere else. Most of us do not think about where electricity comes from every time we flick a switch. But somewhere on the other end of those wires, a machine turns up or down just a little bit every time we do. For over 100 years in Alberta, the types of machines to generate our electricity have been changing. Believe it or not, much of Alberta's electricity supply started with renewables, with biomass and hydro powering Calgary's first utility. As our cities expanded and the electricity networks were expanded to service rural Alberta, we added coal and later natural gas. In most of the rest of Canada, hydropower remains the largest supply and generates almost 2/3 of all electricity in Canada today. Most provinces have also added some natural gas, and Ontario and New Brunswick both have nuclear reactors. With time, we learned more about the impacts of pollution on our health as well as on our climate. And Alberta, like the rest of the world, started to use new sources of energy like wind and solar. Initially, these new sources of energy were expensive and installed largely for their environmental benefits. But that has changed as costs have plummeted to the point where wind and solar are now being sought out around the world because of their low costs. Solar prices alone have dropped by 80% since 2010. Today, we're seeing renewables as the fastest growing source of new electricity around the world, as they are being quickly adopted due to their low cost in addition to the clean energy they provide. Electricity from renewable sources surpassed both coal and nuclear in the United States just this year. Globally, $1.8 trillion is expected to be spent on clean energy this year alone. And that number is expected to double by 2030, as half of the world's electricity is expected to come from renewables. Around the world, countries have set targets to reach net zero in all of their energy supply by 2050, including Canada and here in Alberta. The first step to achieving that is a net zero electricity grid by 2035. This has presented us with a massive opportunity to attract investment and create jobs as we build out and upgrade our grid. Upgrading the electricity grid means not only physically upgrading our grid, but also advancing a diverse mix of energy sources. This includes solar, wind, and batteries, and also relying on Albertan expertise in areas like carbon capture and storage. It also presents challenges. Some have said, this isn't possible, but we've been here before. Over 100 years ago, we electrified our cities. And roughly 70 years ago, the question of electrifying rural Alberta was hotly contested. It seemed to be too large of a problem to solve due to the cost and complexity. But Albertans came together to solve this problem to provide power to Albertans in rural communities. In the 1970s, Peter Lougheed had the vision to develop the oil sands at a time when everyone thought it could not be done. And under the previous Alberta NDP government, we set ambitious energy targets that many said could not be achieved. Everything from phasing out coal to creating a multi-billion-dollar renewables sector. What happened? Well, not only did we reach these targets, we did it several years ahead of schedule. Today, Alberta leads the country in renewable energy development. Imagine where Alberta would be if we had taken no for an answer. Where would the oil sands and renewables sectors be today? sectors that have generated prosperity for the people of Alberta and across our country. Not acting on this is not an option when we think about the future. When gas prices go up and there is not enough competition in the market, Albertans experience the highest cost of electricity ever just this past year. Further, the damage from climate change is increasing every year, leading to widespread flooding and serious wildfires, the likes we have never seen. Frankly, we are already paying the cost for too many years of inaction. Now, here's the good news. A net zero grid can actually save Albertans money. Research has shown it could save households up to $600 per year. So how do we get there? Unfortunately, there is no silver bullet. Currently, there is not a single technology that will solve our energy challenges. That's why it will require a mix of technologies to build a diversified, reliable, affordable, and low-emissions grid. We will need wind, solar, batteries, geothermal energy, hydrogen, interties, and abated gas with carbon capture and storage. We need a diverse supply of energy to keep both costs and pollution low. But most importantly, it will take leadership. It will take all levels of government along with industry to reach our goals. Albertans are innovative and we are problem solvers. It is the spirit that allowed us to electrify rural Alberta, develop the oil sands, and phase out coal when others said it could not be done. And it is the same spirit that will allow us to diversify our energy mix and reach net zero and continue to be energy leaders for decades to come. Thank you.